the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, also known as TPP-11. A TPP-11 is a trade agreement among Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, and Vietnam. It evolved from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which never entered into force due to the withdrawal of the United States. The 11 signatories have combined economies representing 13.4% of global gross domestic product, at approximately $13.5 trillion United States dollars, making the CPTPP one of the world's largest free trade areas by GDP. Along with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, the European Single Market, and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the TPP had been signed on 4 February 2016, but never entered into force, as the US withdrew from the agreement soon after the election of President Donald Trump. All other TPP signatories agreed in May 2017 to revive the agreement, with Japan widely reported as taking the leading role in place of the US in January 2018. The CPTPP was created as a succeeding agreement, retaining two-thirds of its predecessor's provisions. 22 measured favored by the US, but contested by other signatories, was suspended, while the threshold for enactment was lowered so as not to require American accession. The formal signing ceremony was held on 8 March 2018 in Santiago, Chile. The agreement specifies that its provisions enter into effect 60 days after ratification by at least half the signatories. Australia was the sixth nation to ratify the agreement on 31 October 2018, and it subsequently came into force for the initial 6 ratifying countries on 30 December 2018. The chapter on state-owned enterprises is unchanged, requiring signatories to share information about SOEs with each other, with the intent of engaging with the issue of state intervention in markets. It includes the most detailed standards for intellectual property of any trade agreement, as well as protections against intellectual property theft against corporations operating abroad. During the round of negotiations held concurrently with the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in Vietnam in November 2017, Canadian PM Justin Trudeau refused to sign the agreement in principle, stating reservations about the provisions on culture and automotives. Media outlets in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, which strongly supported quick movement on a deal, strongly criticized what they portrayed as Canadian sabotage. Canada insisted that cultural and language rights, specifically related to its French-speaking minority, be protected. However, Canada's major reservation was a conflict between the percentage of a vehicle that must originate in a CPTPP member nation to enter tariff-free, which was 45% under the original TPP language and 62.5% under the NAFTA agreement. Japan, which is a major automobile part exporter, strongly supports lower requirements. In January 2018, Canada announced that it would sign the CPTPP after obtaining binding side letters on culture with every other CPTPP member country, as well as bilateral agreements with Japan, Malaysia, and Australia related to non-tariff barriers. Canada's Auto Parts Manufacturers Association sharply criticized increasing the percentages of automobile parts that may be imported tariff-free, noting that the United States was moving in the opposite direction by demanding stricter importation standards in the ongoing NAFTA renegotiation. In February 2019, Canada's Jim Carr, Minister of International Trade Diversification, delivered a keynote address at a seminar concerning CPTPP, Expanding Your Business Horizons, reaching out to businesses, stating the utilization of the agreement provides a bridge that will enable people, goods and services to be shared more easily. On 28 June 2018, Mexico became the first country to finish its domestic ratification procedure of the CPTPP, with President Enrique Peña Nieto stating, "With this new generation agreement, Mexico diversifies its economic relations with the world and demonstrates its commitment to openness and free trade." On 6 July 2018, Japan became the second country to ratify the agreement. On the 19th of July 2018, Singapore became the third country to ratify the agreement and deposit its instrument of ratification. On the 17th of October 2018, the Australian Federal Parliament passed relevant legislation through the Senate. The official ratification was deposited on the 31st of October 2018. This two-week gap made Australia the sixth signatory to deposit its ratification of the agreement. And it came into force 60 days later. On the 25th of October 2018, New Zealand ratified the CPTPP, increasing the number of countries that had formally ratified the agreement to 4. Also on the 25th of October 2018, Canada passed and was granted royal assent on the enabling legislation. The official ratification was deposited on the 29th of October 2018. On the 2nd of November 2018, the CPTPP and related documents were submitted to the National